Good morning. Welcome. Let's see here. Let's make sure that everything is up and rolling and connecting. We are now officially connected to Facebook and YouTube. So, good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you on the live stream this morning as you begin to watch. If you don't mind checking in, just let me know where you're listening from this morning. As always, it's fun as we watch this global audience grow daily as I live stream every pretty much. I think I may have missed one day since I started, but pretty much every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Hey, Don, good morning to you. Thanks for checking in this morning. And so the purpose of these videos is really there's one goal in mind, and that is to help you to become a profitable or a more profitable voiceover business, because voiceover, it is a business. And if you're just getting started, maybe you haven't learned that yet. Those of you who've been around for a while understand that if you don't understand the business aspect of it, certainly you've got to have a great product, great sounding audio, a great performance, but you also need to understand the marketing component as well. Because if you don't have that, you've got a product and you've got no way to sell it. So that's why we're here this morning. And Rafiq, hey, good to see you this morning. All right. Dennis, what's up? From Malaysia. All right, very good. Great to have you guys here this morning. And as you continue to check in, I just want to let you guys know, several of you have asked, well, how can I be notified of your live stream when you start in the morning? And the thing is, you've got to be subscribed to the channel. So if you have not subscribed yet, please take a moment to do so. And if you do like the video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, and I hope you'll share it with your friends as well, those that you think would help benefit. All right, Chesapeake, Virginia, Minnesota. Awesome. Bruce, how are you doing this morning? Good to have you guys on. Hey, just a quick reminder that tonight begins our 4-week audiobook series with Tom Parks. Tom is a former student of mine, a former college student of mine back when I was teaching, and that was like 30 years ago. Since then, Tom has become a highly successful audiobook narrator. I think he's recorded, I believe it's around 600 books, if I'm not mistaken. And he makes a multiple six-figure income doing so. And by the way, if you have an interest in, the reason I assume that you're here is because you have an interest in making money as a voiceover talent. Maybe one or two of you say, I just do it as a hobby. I could care less whether I make money. But pretty much anybody I've ever met wants to make money at it. Most people would love to do it as their full-time income if they were able to do it. So if you're going to work with a coach, I highly recommend you ask how much they make doing it. Because the reality is if they're not making money doing it, they probably can't teach you how to do that either. So, and it's okay to ask that. When you're spending money on a coach, and I'm not offended when people ask me that. I've been making a multiple six-figure income for a number of years now. I've made, I think, over $3 million now in voiceover. Of course, I've been doing this for a few years. But, excuse me, a coach should not be offended for you to ask, because if they're selling the ability to teach you to do something, they need to be able to demonstrate proof of performance, that they can do it themselves. So, hey, Timothy, what's up? Altoona, PA. All right, guys. Well, today I reveal the voiceover performance, the moment you've all been waiting for. So in the live stream, just let me know if you're frustrated with your audition to win ratio. In other words, are you booking as much work as you would like to? Just throw it in the live stream. Yes, no, I'm frustrated. Hey, I'm killing it. Let's see. Tony says we're at lunch here in Ireland. Awesome. And do I reckon the VO market is saturated? No. I saw a comment by an actor who says there's too many people. By the way, and that's the people who are saying that there's too many people are the people who don't want competition. And maybe they have to work a little harder for it, Boo-hoo. That's business. That's just the way it works. But here's the thing. Are there more people in voiceover? Absolutely. The technology now makes it more accessible. But the awesome thing, Tony, is that the technology has also exploded content. I mean, think about it. YouTube. I think I saw recently there's something like 1 billion hours of content released daily on YouTube. Now, feel free to correct me on that number, but it's whatever. It was an astronomical number, and I think it was over 1 billion hours a day. How much of that video requires voiceover, just on YouTube. Just think about that for a second. The market has exploded, and along with that, more people are getting into it. But here's the thing, is that most people have not properly been prepared. So most people get in, they get frustrated because things don't happen as quickly as they wanted to, or they found out it was more work than they anticipated. It happens, and they quit. So those of you who are in it to stay, who are getting the proper training and knowledge to do it the way it should be done, then you can succeed in voiceover. Otherwise, it is a really, really tough row to hoe, as they say. Okay, Bruce says he's just getting started. Hey, Dominic, good morning from Milford, Michigan. Michigan's such a beautiful state. I love Michigan in the summertime. All right, so let's talk about the voiceover performance. Let me reveal that for you. And the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of people, and this is due to, I believe, just bad information, and that is they approach the voiceover performance backwards. In other words, let me break it down very simply. They approach voiceover from how they think about how they sound. The focus is on how they sound, which is the wrong way to enter this experience of voiceover performance. In other words, they're worried about how they say things. Am I enunciating properly? Am I pausing at the right place? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Does my full voice sound okay? And they are mentally and emotionally focused on how they sound. And a lot of this has to do with just, I think, bad coaching, where coaches, they're looking at the trees instead of the forest, and they're focusing on the minutia of, okay, well, you should pause here. You should be a little more enthusiastic here. Now, I'm not saying those things aren't important, but what I'm saying is that's the last part of the equation. It's certainly not the first. And if you make it the first part of the equation, then you're dead in the water before you even begin. Let me put it another way. Let's imagine you're about to have a conversation with your best friend about, let's give a scenario. Let's say you just ate at a restaurant. It was the best. You experienced the best meal that you ever have, and you're so excited to tell your friend about it. Before you talk to your friend, do you think through how you're going to say it, what words you're going to emphasize, where you're going to pause, and how your voice sounds? Of course, that's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. And if you were to do that, what would happen? Your friend would stop you and ask you what was wrong with you, because they could tell you're not focused on talking to them. You're not communicating what you feel. You're focused on how you sound and what you say. The voiceover formula is this, and you got to start backwards. You start with the end in mind, and you work your way backwards. And the goal of voiceover is that you be believed. You start with that. If you're not believed, then nothing happens. You'll never book a voiceover job if the person hearing you doesn't believe you. Now, does being believable have anything to do with how well you, how you speak from your diaphragm, how good your pacing is, where you emphasize words? No, it's not about how you sound. It's about your point of view. It's about the attitude that you bring to it. It's about your personality. So there are a couple of things you need to understand. Number one is context. When you look at a script, everything's within context. Like, what's going on? Where are you? For instance, if you were standing out in the middle of a rainstorm, would you talk differently than if you're inside your home? Yeah, you'd have to talk over the noise. For one thing, you might be frustrated while you're out there dodging raindrops. That's context. So where you're at has a lot to do with it. Who you're talking to. Would you talk to a child differently than you would to an adult? Yes. Would you talk to a close friend differently than you would somebody that's a casual acquaintance? Yes. Do you talk to your doctor differently than you talk to your spouse? Probably. All of these things go into context. You need to understand and visualize what's going on. Who are you? Who are you talking to? Where are you at? And then there's the message, the story. Every script is a story. And within that, you need to find your voice, meaning how you feel about it. So if you were in that scenario, how would you feel? And I don't have time to go into techniques to do that. And in my coaching and if you were my voiceover blueprint program, this is something we would go into in depth, is teaching you how to put yourself within the context of that story and to find your voice, to express your personality, your point of view, how you feel about it. Because here's the thing. People respond to feeling, to emotion. If you want to be believed, then you have to make the listener feel something. So again, the end goal is to be believed. If you want to be believed, the listener has to feel something. Maybe it's a sense of concern. Maybe it's compassion. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's excitement. Maybe it's fear. But they need to feel something. And if you can generate some sort of emotion, stir that emotion within them, they will believe you. They'll lean into to hear what you have to say. How do you get them to feel it? So we've got belief, emotion. Now, how do you get the listener to feel something? Here's the key. This is it. You have to feel it first. Because if you're focused on sounding good, nobody cares. Nobody cares how great you sound. Can they believe you? And they may not, the listener doesn't process it this way. It comes from here, not from here. So if you can get them to respond and to feel that from you, then you have a shot. That's when you start booking work, because it shifts everything, it turns everything on its head. So you're probably playing the game backwards. You're starting by focusing on the trees. You're looking at punctuation. You're looking at enunciation. You're looking at pacing. You're probably speaking to the back of the room instead of making it an intimate personal conversation in which you have a point of view. You express your personality, your attitude, and emotion. So if you feel it first, that creates on an unconscious level some sort of vibration that the listener will identify with. They'll pick up on it. They will feel it as well. And if they feel it, they'll believe you. Otherwise, it just feels false and canned and pretend. But if they believe you, then you've got a good chance. That's when you start getting shortlisted. And that's when you start getting hired for jobs. And if you're not, and if you've been doing hundreds and hundreds of auditions, then you're missing. It's most likely that this is part of the mix. This is a huge one. Yeah, your audio has to sound great. That's where we start. But if you're not doing this, then you're not going to get very far at all. So if you're interested in learning more about that and how to do that, then let me encourage you to, here's the web address. And I think the link is in the description here as well. But it's BillDeweeseLive.com, BillDeweeseLive.com. Go there. I've put together a video. It's nearly an hour long that goes into more detail on all of this, but also gives you an opportunity to learn more about my coaching. But remember, nothing happens until the listener believes you. And they believe you when they feel something from you, but they don't feel it unless you feel it first. And that, if there's a secret to voiceover performance, that's where it's at. Because most people, they immediately go to how they sound and they miss the boat completely. So wherever you're at in your voiceover journey, you can do better if you simply focus on that formula. It will take you, and maybe depending on where you're at, maybe it's a few steps. For many of you, it's going to be a leap to a completely different plateau. I know it was for me back when I learned it. So let's check in and see what we've got this morning. Oh my goodness, the live stream is hopping this morning. The chat's hopping. Hey Jay, what's up, man? Hey Ray, what's going on? Good to have you on this morning. Bruce, Tony in Ireland says, sounds like the secret sauce right there. I think so. It's interesting. I come from a broadcast background, and I thought I understood that. But voiceover really forces you to take it to another level. And I think part of it is in broadcasting tends to be a little more one-dimensional, whereas in voiceover, we're asked to make some big shifts in context and in character and in point of view and in emotion. And once I finally got that, and maybe it was a little harder for me than others. I mean, I have no acting background. I'm not a trained actor. But once I understood that and I understood the strategies to be able to pull that off, it made all the difference in the world. I mean, I was doing well, but it took me from doing well to doing really, really well. Hey, Tom in South Florida. All right. Yes, sir. Hey, Dennis. Let's see. Dominic. Timothy, what's up? Marilyn, Jeff and Lori, good morning to you guys. Hey, Doug. Tim, all right. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining me this morning. I do appreciate it. I try to be here pretty much every weekday morning, like I said, at about 8 Eastern time. And I appreciate the comments and the questions that you put in the live stream. I obviously can't get to them all every day, but what I do on Fridays is I do the Q&A. So Friday, I commit completely to Q&A. So if you have questions you want to bring along, bring them. And I do like to refer back to other questions that you put in the live stream during the week, and sometimes I'm able to reference those as well. And don't forget the audiobook class with Tom Parks. If you're not into audiobooks or you've been frustrated by audiobooks, chances are you just didn't understand the formula for being able to build a substantial voiceover or audiobook presence within voiceover. Tom Parks is the guy who knows how to do that because he's proven that. Proof of concept. He's been doing it for years. He's recorded hundreds and hundreds of audiobooks, and he makes a really good living doing it, and he's going to teach you to do the same. The link is in the description here in the YouTube description, so check it out, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for checking out the live stream, and we'll talk to you soon.